After months and months of rumours, speculations and leaks, players finally know what form Call of Duty Black Ops 4 is going to take. For the most part, the leaks were correct. Blops 4 is shipping with a Battle Royale mode without a regular campaign and with an overhauled Overwatch-style multiplayer suite. It's clear that this addition to the franchise is looking to shake things up again, and while change for a series this big is on paper a good idea, it's a little worrying to see some of the features that Activision is boasting aren't sitting too well with the fans. This may well turn out to be the best COD yet, but as you'll see from this list, they may have already made a few blunders. So let's take a look and ask ourselves what shape Black Ops 4 will take. With this in mind, I'm Jules from WhatCulture.com, and this is Call of Duty Black Ops 4, 8 mistakes Activision have already made.
But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to stay notified. Ding, ding, dong.
Number 8. The maps were originally designed with wall running in mind. So it might not be well known to all, but Black Ops 4 has already had a major facelift during its development, and it's down to the reaction by fans to Call of Duty World War II. Now, while World War II might not have set the world on fire, the return to boots-on-the-ground gameplay was something very welcomed by the public. Now, don't get me wrong, the wall running featured in previous titles had given a new way to get pinged from across the fucking map, but fans have been pretty vocal about having the bonds of gravity tightened just a little bit. Therefore, Blops 4 had all of the wall running features removed, which were at some point going to be a big part of the gameplay. The issue is, however, that the maps are remaining the same and were designed with these features in mind. This title has been 3 years in the making, and this change only happened fairly recently, which might mean that we get served a weaker, far less focused Battlefield as a result. Number 7. Chasing Overwatch and FORTNITE. For the longest time, Call of Duty was the biggest trendsetter in the industry. It changed the way that people viewed online games. Yet somewhere along the line, the dynamic has flipped, and time again we see it chasing others. You can't ignore the inclusion of the Battle Royale mode, and while it does sound like it could be heaps of fun, it's a bit worrying that it's such a blatant Fortnite ripoff. With rumours abounding that the multiplayer is also going to move towards a team-orientated and hero-focused approach, it hints at another inspiration, Overwatch. There are a ton of games that preceded Overwatch which have done the same thing, but it's the biggest of its kind at the moment, and it's clear that Activision have been eyeing it up. What's worrying isn't the quality, hell, it could make for some amazing setups, but it's the originality. If Activision is simply following in the wake of others, it'll get left behind eventually. Number 6. Keeping a futuristic setting. Although Treyarch reiterated during the reveal event that Black Ops 4 will return to the classic grounded gameplay that COD fans love, the game's setting is still distinctly future-tinged. Though you might not be double jumping around matches, the maps, weapons, and gadgets are still going to be sci-fi inspired, which could be a mistake considering the current appetite for throwback shooters. It's not an inherently negative thing for a Call of Duty game to adopt a near-future setting, but after so long spent there and World War II being a solid reminder that fans like old wars, might it not have been a better idea to move with the new gameplay features to a brand new setting as well? Number 5. Making multiplayer 5v5. While there have been plenty of changes to the regular multiplayer suite going into Black Ops 4, the one that's taken the most flack has been the reduction of the player count from 6v6 to 5v5. Though the series has never been on the level of Battlefield, a solid section of the fan base has enjoyed the larger scale battles, especially in the 9v9 ground war. By the sounds of it though, even that option will be absent from the upcoming game. Now, Treyarch have justified the decision by pointing towards the new squad focus of their game modes, as well as the maps themselves, which are said to be on the smaller side, but that in itself presents yet another problem. Call of Duty has always had an issue with the short amount of time it takes to kill an enemy, and throwing players into small, cramped maps might only exacerbate this problem. Again, if executed correctly, this could make for a welcome change to the franchise, but considering how teamwork usually fares in Call of Duty, it may only increase the chances of each match being horribly imbalanced. Number 4. Starting a new Zombies timeline. Although Zombies is no longer Treyarch's baby, with every other Call of Duty developer getting in on the action and creating their own rendition of the iconic mode, it's their version that the fans still look forward to playing the most. That's partly down to the ridiculously complex storyline that's been spun across all of their games. I mean, go watch Rich's video on it if you want to fully understand the plot. I don't. Yet all that's going to change come Bloops 4 because we're getting a new set of characters and a brand new storyline. Now don't get me wrong, zombies has been the one standout feature of COD for a long time, but to start things anew when there is this rich lore for the hardcore fans is such a shame. This was a reward to the dedicated, and there are rumours that this timeline will be more straightforward and focused on goofs. Fingers crossed at least that there's a tie into the original timeline rather than this apparently clean break. Number 3. Not knowing how many players Blackout supports. For a game releasing in less than 6 months, there's still so much up in the air about Black Ops 4. Most of that uncertainty has to do with the Blackout mode, which, while promising, could be a total failure if not executed perfectly. And it's already gotten off to a bit of a bad start, as at the moment Treyarch have admitted that they're not sure how many players this mode is even going to support. Other Battle Royale games boast 100-player servers, but that number would be far and away the most ambitious player count a Call of Duty game has ever aimed for. Part of the reason why this series has never chased Battlefield and having larger scale battles is its buttery smooth gameplay, which, whether you like the series or not, is virtually unrivaled in the console space. Throwing in nearly 100 players would inevitably sacrifice the tone that Treyarch pride themselves on, as there's no way they'd be able to maintain a rock-solid 60 FPS gunplay across such a gigantic mode. The developers certainly could compensate for this, after all Blackout isn't your regular Call of Duty mode, but them not knowing the exact player count kind of reminds me of your mother's golden rule. Always know how many you can fit in your slots. There's my one per list. Number 2. Changing how specialists work. To further those Overwatch comparisons, Black Ops 4 is only going to allow one type of specialist per team, meaning that squad play is not only encouraged, but it's going to be damn well needed to pull out a win. Now, while the prospect of being chewed out by teenagers for picking the air quotes wrong class in a game is just fucking tip-top, it does also highlight a few other issues. It's hampering player freedom a little and will definitely cause a fuss when specialist favourites emerge and players quit out in the hopes of landing their desired avatar. There's no word on whether multiples of the same class can be used in casual or custom modes either, and it all seems to be stripping away the customization focus that COD games have done really well in the past. And number 1, no campaign. By far the biggest and most contentious change Treyarch have made for Black Ops 4 is dropping the single-player campaign entirely. Now, some will say they don't really care about this mode, or that a good campaign hasn't existed since Black Ops 1 or Modern Warfare, but there have always been strong moments across all titles and some fantastic acting in them to boot, so it's a shame to see them go. Now, Activision are kind of justified in the move, as they've often mentioned how few players actually see their campaigns through to the end, but that's an argument to change what you offer, not simply take your ball home with you. Maybe cut the length, maybe make the missions more varied and not rely on explosions all the time to get the action across. In their defense, Activision pointed at Blackout mode, which is going to have fan favorites return as people as you can play as, but therein lies the problem. These characters are fan-phased because of their previous campaigns, and trading on their glory only highlights the absence of a single-player narrative. It's a good tool to push the new mode, but one that might be terribly short-sighted.
Hey guys, thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to subscribe below, and if you're looking for more content like this, then try a few things that are floating about around my ears. It might be fun. I can't promise it though, but it might be.